DIYers, what's going on? Mike Borders with the Mike Borders channel. Hey, thanks for watching. We're talking Outdrive engines, and in the event that you cannot get your lower unit to pressurize, we're going to talk about the common causes. Let's get started. DIYers, here we are back at the Craftsman workstation, and on the left-hand side, you can see our upper unit on that black stand that is already rebuilt and pressurized. And on top of the workbench on a white stand, you can see our lower unit that has just recently been pressure tested and all went well. And again, we are going to talk about the common causes which lead to an unsuccessful pressure test on a lower unit. Let's take a closer look. To a closer look, on the left-hand side here is our old water pump housing. Impeller is inside, and the base, as well as the gaskets and O-ring. Talk about that here shortly. We've got our newly installed bearing carrier, newly installed water pump housing and impeller, as well as the gaskets and base, and our brand new oil feed seal. However, I'm going to reposition the camera and we'll talk about the water pump housing. With the camera now repositioned, again, here is our old water pump housing, the internal impeller, the gaskets, the base, the bottom O-ring, as well as the water tube. I'll set that aside. I do want to talk about this fitting right here. It has a threaded stud and a rubber O-ring. And on the opposite side, here is where our hand pump gauge hooks up to. And in the video scrolling above, we actually perform a full pressure test on this exact lower unit. So definitely check that out and you'll get to know more about these parts. However, in our kit came 3 little fittings, and you want to ensure when using these fittings that you properly install the right size fitting to your gear lube or oil drain port screw. And what you do is remove that screw, and you use this, you screw it in to the actual threaded portion of the insert where again your drain screw came out of, and this O-ring acts as an airtight seal, or in other words creates an airtight seal. So having the right size thread and fitting going into that threaded portion of your case is very important, as well as ensuring that your rubber O-ring is there. And when doing this, do not over tighten it, but you want it snug. So common cause number 1, and we're not doing these in order, is this actual fitting not snug into the thread enough on the actual case, and it is creating a small air leak. So if you do hear an air leak at this fitting point, carefully tighten the fitting just ever so slightly until the hissing goes away. And if that's the case, hopefully it fixes it and you can continue pressurizing your system. However, if this is snug and no air is hissing out of it, we'll set that aside. We're going to talk about the actual water pump housing, and I am going to remove the screw, set that aside. I'm going to pull the water pump housing off, and this is the base. Let's talk about the base first. I'm going to flip it on its back side. On the bottom portion of your base that goes into the upper cavity where your drive shaft feeds into, this is the portion that creates an airtight seal. And again, this bottom base portion, blue in our case, has a small little rubber O-ring going around. And if you're missing that O-ring, you will never be able to create that airtight seal for a pressure test. In addition, it is important to lubricate this rubber O-ring, which will allow it to properly seat into the cavity and create that airtight seal. Next, you have a gasket. Make sure that you have the proper gasket installed. In our case, ours ripped during the removal process. However, again, if you install the wrong gasket on the bottom portion of the base, you interrupt the actual flow of water and air through the housing, and that will not allow you to properly pressurize it. To the other side, you got 2 little tabs here, and I'm going to take the 3 little gaskets off, and I'm going to show you with our specific serial number the proper order to install these gaskets. Gasket number 1 is this one right here. It's got this large opening on the left-hand side, and it's got 2 little tabs as shown there. And take a look at this. Again, as you can see, by properly placing the gaskets in the proper order, you will ensure that the water and air transition through this housing the correct way and efficiently. Next is your faceplate, as shown here, and 2 little tabs, and you've got this little rounded edge here at the top left corner. Make sure that that is aligned. And the third one, again, for our specific serial number, Alpha 1 Gen 1, is this gasket here. So again, in the event that you do not install these gaskets the proper way, you will not be able to pressure test your lower unit. And the bottom side of the impeller, when installed, will go just like that. And you want to use the screw and the 3 additional washers and nuts to secure the housing in place on the top portion of the lower unit where the drive shaft goes into the cavity. Also, for our specific serial number, it calls for 70 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, but inch-pounds on the 3 nuts, and 30 inch-pounds on the screw, as shown here. I'll set that aside. Next, let's go up top. Coming up top, and again, our brand new installed water pump housing, and the drive shaft, and In the event that you over tighten those nuts, chances are you could lead to that plastic housing breaking, and that is definitely not going to allow a pressure test to be successful. So again, in our case, 70 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds for those nuts, and 30 inch-pounds for that screw. Next common cause is not being able to properly seal this oil feed line. In our case, you can see the new O-ring, and in the video that we performed the pressure test, you will see that we put a few layers of rubber over this and then clamped it with that C-clamp right there to create that airtight seal. And again, while we're up here, I do want to show you the other side. Now let's talk about the shift shaft. To a closer view of the shift shaft, and on the bottom portion of the shift shaft bushing, you have a rubber O-ring that also creates an airtight seal in this cavity here. And in the event that this is either not torqued to specs or over torqued, you could damage that lower O-ring. And inside that bushing, I'm going to carefully remove this little washer here. And you will see an additional rubber seal here. And that one really isn't doing much. However, underneath that is an oil seal, and that is extremely important. In our case, the new bushing came with a brand new oil seal already installed, which was great. However, if you're using an old bushing and an old seal, well, this might be your cause. It might be leaking out of that old oil seal on the old bushing. Let me show you the old bushing real quick. To a close-up of our old bushing, as you can see, let's go to the bottom portion. And there is the O-ring. Again, if that is over torqued or not tightened enough, that O-ring is not creating an airtight seal because it is under torqued, or it is over torqued and you have damaged that seal or O-ring. And on the top portion, I'll remove that washer, grab that little pick tool, remove that little rubber piece here. And there is our old oil seal, as you can see here. Again, our new bushing came with a brand new oil seal, which is great. However, if yours looks like that, it might be time to replace it. And you can see the spring portion of the oil seal is closest to the top of the bushing. So I felt it was important to show you that. Taking a step back, now let's talk about the bearing carrier and the propeller shaft seals. As you see here, this is our brand new bearing carrier. Let me show you the old one. And here is the brand new oil seal that already came installed in the bearing carrier. And the old one, as you can see, installed incorrectly. You don't even see the spring. There's two of them. There's a top one and an inner one. And for the new bearing carrier, you can see that the oil seal is installed the proper way. You can see the spring. In addition, the internal oil seal is installed properly. We verified that. And coming inside, if you have any scores, gouges, or warp portion of your case, that bearing carrier O-ring might not be able to create that airtight seal because it's not big enough to close in and secure those gaps. And DIYers, in the event that you have scores or any damage to your internal case, definitely check out the link scrolling above. We'll show you how to fix that. In addition, I want to talk about the base of the bearing carrier. Ours is destroyed. This was by far the hardest part we ever had to pull out of a boat or jet ski, anything marine related. It was terrible. Basically melted and seized in place. However, on the base or bottom portion of the bearing carrier is a large O-ring. I'm going to show you that now. DIYers, here we are on the computer, and in front of us is our brand new bearing carrier. And as you can see, the reverse gear is already pressed into place, and in between that reverse gear and the base of the bearing carrier is our brand new thrust ring. And to the right of that is the brand new rubber O-ring, and there's the part number. And I'll go to the next photo. Here's the rubber O-ring out of the package, and as you can see, it is orange, and it's a pretty big O-ring. To the next photo, you can see right here where I'm pointing, that is the beveled portion of the base of the carrier where the O-ring will be installed prior to installing this entire carrier up here inside the cavity of your lower unit. To the next photo, here is the brand new rubber O-ring properly installed on the carrier, and as you can see, the rubber O-ring is properly placed in the machine cut of the base of the bearing carrier, in between that and the thrust ring here. To the next photo, this is the part of the project where we use the 2,4-C grease with Teflon, and we properly lubricate both the bearing carrier and the rubber O-ring prior to installing it inside the lower unit. So with that said, again, I wanted to show you what a brand new rubber O-ring looks like when installed on the brand new bearing carrier, as well as properly greasing it before it's installed. Back to the lower unit, and now that we have a better understanding of the purpose of that rubber O-ring on the base of the carrier, here is our old carrier and a new seal. I just want to show you how badly damaged that is. Again, very important, this O-ring. Now, Back to the actual bearing carrier installed in our lower unit. This is your retainer nut, and our specific serial number called for 210 foot-pounds on a torque wrench to properly set this bearing carrier in the lower unit. And it's very possible that your case is warped and you hit 210 or whatever your specific torque is in your service manual per your serial number, and you basically cannot get this bearing carrier shifted into the case in its proper position to create that airtight seal. If you run into that, hopefully you don't, but you might need a new case. Again, 210 foot-pounds for us. We're going to go up top. We're going to show you the cavity where you can actually see the top portion of the carrier that is shifted in place in the cavity. And I'm going to scroll in. And DIYers, that is the back portion or base of the carrier shifted all the way into the cavity and torqued to 210 foot-pounds. And I'm going to grab a large screwdriver. I'm going to shift it down. I do want to show you. Here is the right portion. You can still see a little bit of the base is sticking out. However, the dead center, it's almost basically flush, just a hair out. And on the opposite side, same length of the bearing carrier base is out. So if yours doesn't look like this, chances are the bearing carrier itself is not shifted into the cavity fully, which will lead to that rubber O-ring not being able to create an airtight seal. So again, this is a very common cause. And some people run into this because the lower unit was damaged out on the water and the structure of the unit is no longer perfectly round for the bearing carrier to shift into, or the lower unit experienced some heavy overheating and warped. Again, not allowing the bearing carrier to be shifted down the cavity and in place as shown here. And I'll scroll out, give you one last view of that as you see here. Taking a step back, and DIYers, again, those are the common causes to an unsuccessful pressure test on a lower unit. Hopefully this helps. Do us a favor, below the video you will see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, definitely ring your YouTube bell. That would be very helpful to us. We would really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. And one more thing scrolling above right now is a link to a video that talks about the common causes that lead to an unsuccessful pressure test on an upper unit. Hope to see you there. Thanks again.